Why do thieves never target politicians' homes? Professional courtesy. We don't approve of political jokes here. We've seen far too many get elected. Welcome back to the Bit of Truth for a Tuesday. Let's just hope the government haven't ruined it for you yet. Now, because we are talking a lot about bullshitters and the corrupt circus in this episode, it's only fair to start with the real clown show, the Batty Boys Club, the chiefs of protagonist propaganda, the BBC. A BBC disinformation correspondent and chief fact checker is caught lying on her CV. Ooh, what a surprise. Yes, the woman who's supposed to do the fact hunts and not be one, lied and said that she was working alongside a BBC correspondent covering the perception of Russia during the 2018 Football World Cup. Well, in an organisation full of over 21,000 employees, and 21,000 of them being completely full of shit, it's no surprise that the chief fact checker is a complete joke as well.
Gotcha, bitch!
Now, speaking of bullshitters, let's have a look at the government. We find out that only 22 million out of the 1.1 billion that was lost to fraud and also error on Convid grants has actually been recovered. Well. Who would have thought that giving out money to businesses that just popped up overnight or went from trading £5,000 a year to trading £500,000 a year would come back to bite us in the bonus hole? Oh, the government are urged by MPs to not give up on recovering taxpayer cash. Oh, no. MPs need that money for their own business ventures, like giving out government contracts for PPE.
Correctamundo!
Or maybe they actually have some other things that they're spending your money on, like this. And please, if you're not sitting down, please do. The government racks up a £678,000 bill ferrying artworks around the world to decorate the homes of diplomats and embassy buildings. Fucking hell. Oh yes, while people are skipping meals because they can't afford a loaf of bread, others are planning to nick blankets from John Lewis because they can't afford to turn on the heating this winter, our government isn't spending the money on helping the NHS, rebuilding schools that are falling down, or even homeless vets. No. They are holding a collection of 14,700 pieces of art in more than 125 countries. Oh yes, and not only owning them, they spent almost £700,000 of your hard-earned tax pennies moving the paintings, the sculptures and the other artwork around the world to display in embassy building and diplomats' homes. Just to give you an idea, sometimes the air freight for a single painting is many times more expensive than a plane ticket would cost for just one person. Complete fucking shyster show.
Fuck 'em.
Now, speaking of complete shysters, SADC's ULEZ Expansion will add just 13 minutes to your life expectancy. Yes, well done SADC, keeping us all on the planet 13 minutes longer. Collectively, that is a lot of extra time spent at work, paying taxes for you to waste. I say fuck it, let's all drive around in Hummer H1s, circle his house until it weakens the road, creates a sinkhole or keeps him in his cage. Yes, it's only predicted to cause a 1.3% reduction in the average Londoner's exposure to carbon dioxide, but it is 100% guaranteed to piss off any driver that's too poor to be able to afford a new car. You know, those ones that are so broke, their credit rating is so bad, they couldn't put themselves in more debt even if they wanted to. So you thought, yeah, fuck it, let's charge them. Who cares about the poor?
You're fast.
Now, speaking of ULEZ, a new ULEZ-styled rules car park in Bath sees diesel drivers charge more for using council car parks. Now, speaking of Bath, I think that we should get electric car owners to park in the Bath. Something like that. Oh, the city of Bath. Sorry, I misunderstood. Oh yes, again, let's just piss off the poor, charge them more to park, just so we can extend our miserable lives for an extra 13 minutes, just so we can survive long enough to see what the next bullshit scheme the government or the local councils are going to come out with next.
I now declare this frickin' idiot convention open!
Now, speaking of the local councils, you remember that one that went bankrupt last week? Yes, well, it seems like their leader couldn't give two shiny shites about it. The Birmingham City Council leader has been slammed for going on holiday while the council went bust. Yes, well done to the councillor John Cotton. Thank you for taking time away from your luxurious 50th birthday in New York to thankfully join in via Zoom to watch your local authority go down the shitter. Yes, this goon that was handpicked by the other goon, Keir Starmer's. Yes, this one. He was nowhere to be seen when the shit hit the fan. There you go, people of Brum. This is what your leaders thinks of you.
Nothing.
Now, if you want to know why they went bankrupt, then look no further. Furious locals slammed the bankrupt council for wasting £10 million on a 2.5 mile cycle lane that is wider than a bus lane, barely used, and causes traffic chaos. Oh, let's take a look at some of their other ideas. Yes, they wound up £1.2 million in debt after many fantastic ideas, such as spending £184 million on the Commonwealth Games, £50 million on hydrogen buses, £100 million on a botched IT system, £17 million on a private taxi firm for school kids, £14 million on the European Athletics Championship, and not to mention £760 million on equal pay debt. This is not even mentioning the cost of the Dover discoverers who have found home in their now ruined city. Well done!
You're bigger idiots than I thought.
In other things that are completely screwed is still the NHS. Yes, the NHS 111 line is flooded with calls from people who can't find a dentist. Yes, now 9 out of 10 dentists say they aren't able to register any more patients, leading to 85,000 people calling the urgent care line each month, a rise of more than 40% since 2018. Well, if we stop wasting money on bike lanes, ULEZ setup fees, transporting art, or even buying it for that matter, dodgy solar energy firms, diversity officers, and a bunch of other stuff, the list just goes on and on and on and on. I could create a whole series on the things that the government wastes our money on. Anyway, where was I going? Oh yes, if we didn't waste so much money, we might actually be able to afford to treat people. My advice, just go to jail, you'll be able to see a dentist 24/7.
We're screwed!
In more shenanigans, the DWP stops their mum's benefits after she works just 1 second over the limit. Yes, let's teach that single mum of 2 who suffers from a range of health issues a lesson. Just don't bother working. We have a shed-load of lazy bastards who have never or will never work a single day in their lives. We see them get given free council houses and weekly payments for doing absolutely nothing. And no, we're not just talking about the Dover discoverers. I've seen it myself. Lazy scum of the earth who make up a whole array of excuses and issues to avoid having to lift a finger and just sponge off society. Yet here we have a woman who's trying to do as best as she can, even given the bad cards that she's been dealt with in her life, and now just working 1 second over a permitted allowance, it's now cost her.
It's a bloody disgrace.
Anyway, frozen humans could be brought back to life in just 70 years. Lord, if I could just say to these people, don't bother, I really would. Yes, people who were put into giant popsicles back in the 1960s could be revived in just 70 years' time. The world definitely won't be fixed by then. I only predict that it's most likely to implode. Right, so what have we learnt today? The BBC are full of shit. The government don't give a shit. ULEZ is still a complete scam. Your local council doesn't care about you. And if you're frozen, don't bother thawing out. Signing out.